a very activist court. So judicial activism is welcome. But activism and restraint are two sides of the same coin. An absolute authority in the matter of appointment, an absolute authority in the matter of writing judgments. A single judge of the High Court can be corrected by a division bench. The division bench can be corrected by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is not infallible, but it is final. Above the Supreme Court, it's only God, and God doesn't correct judgments. He only sits in the final judgment at a much later stage. And therefore, we are living in an age where their view is final. And what does finality mean? Look at this age where the transfer of power, where the executive primacy or participation got left out, and how restraint went out of activism. Otherwise, activism coupled with restraint. So if it was activism which helped personal liberty, if it was activism which protected environment, if it was activism which protected the weaker sections of society who couldn't otherwise approach the court, it will be a welcome phenomenon. Can in any jurisprudence in the world, under any authority of law, violent terrorist action is on, and our soldiers and security forces are sacrificing their life standing in front of the terrorists and fighting them, suddenly emerges a judicial order which says, please provide so many calories of food to the terrorist. The government of the day, the political system, the media, internationally, it happened in Jammu and Kashmir. A terrorist action is on, the security forces are fighting terror. And how many calories must a terrorist get in terms of his food is an obligation imposed by the court. There is no infallible question of, it's obviously an order which raises serious eyebrows, but it's final. The government of the day can't correct it. I've seen a judgment delivered about a year ago, which was a subject matter of great debate, where economic liberalization post 1991, neoliberalism, the dangers of neoliberalism, whether you must have liberalization or not have liberalization can be a subject matter of this House. The Supreme Court of India can't have an economic philosophy. Courts don't formulate policy. Courts have a power of judicial review. Courts can't even review a policy and say, my policy is better than your policy. Courts don't legislate. How special police officers are to function, and how Naxalism is to be fought, how insurgency is to be fought. Now, these are all matters, whether it is security or it is economic policy, whether it is slum clearance. Activism has now gone to an extent that in case after case, when we fail to take action, it's judicial legislation. And it's termed as judicial legislation. We lay down the following guidelines. And those guidelines are effectively the law. Now, it may be, putting it too simply, if we argue that the political establishment has become weak in this country, parliament is divided, polity is divided, therefore it's happening. But sir, the emergence of this phenomena, normally it is for the court to say that the government of the day must be kept in check. Because the governments may tend to breach the law. The government may tend to upset the political balance if there is a danger to the concept of separation of powers being disturbed, no center or state government of any political complexion has ever said, let us try and encroach on the power of the court. The argument given is, governments are not doing their duty, so the court has to step in and do that duty. Sir, with utmost respect, it's a very serious, a very dangerous argument. If government is not doing its duty, please direct them to do their duty. But can't take over the power. If 3 crore cases are pending in court, can anybody turn around and say the courts are not doing their duty because there is a delay, so somebody else will now do that duty? This argument can work the other way around also, and if it did work, we'll be heading for anarchy. Because courts have to decide those cases. We have to probably increase the number of judges. Therefore, this whole argument that we step in and start performing the tasks of a court because governments are not doing their duty. Well, if governments are not doing their duty, compel them, stricture them. Your strictures have great value.